You know, it's funny, the question's always asked, how can startups engage with pharma, or how should startups engage with pharma? And I actually think the answer deserves kind of the flip-flop of that, which is really, how can pharma work closely with startups? And I think there's a cultural translation needed between the two a lot of times, because the startup world, the testing, the iterating, the inventing or reimagining how things could work doesn't usually fly well in the pharma world. And on the flip side, the way that pharma thinks and the way pharma approaches things oftentimes is met with both skepticism or resistance from the startup. So there's a lot of translation needed between the two. And I think at the end of the day, the big thing that we have found to be most effective is a conversation. As crazy as it sounds, not a pitch, not a search for a startup that could help them, or on the flip side, a pharma that could become a customer, but really finding a match between the two where there's a cultural fit between how they view the invention or reinvention or reimagination of what that problem and solution might be. Yeah, I think the biggest benefit that comes between pharma and startups is really the learning that can take place if both sides are willing to work together to figure it out. Oftentimes, pharmaceutical companies already think they have the answer, or startups already think they have the solution. And 9 times out of 10, it's actually not what either of them think. So if they both approach it with learning in mind, then it can be a successful partnership. Startups need customers, validation, commercialization, data to prove what they're doing works. On the flip side, the pharmaceutical companies need innovative solutions that they really can't develop or usually won't develop in-house. And so when you can find a pharmaceutical company that's open to external innovation, and you can find a startup that understands the cultural translation with a big organization, magic can happen. But ultimately, I think the big challenge that both sides end up having is they walk past each other. So a startup walks into a room and tries pitching their solution, or a pharmaceutical company goes out into the market looking for a solution, and they pass in the night, versus having an open dialogue about what both are looking for. And usually there's a mutual opportunity for both of them to get what they're looking for, which is ultimately a solution that has a customer and a user that is going to get that's going to benefit. And on the flip side, the startups are usually open to working with creating a solution at a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time than the pharmaceutical company is probably used to. Startups are transforming the entire industry, not just in the pharmaceutical landscape, but in the provider landscape, in the payer landscape, and most importantly, the patient landscape. I think ultimately what you've got is the classic creative destruction moment happening in healthcare, where the entire industry is being upended. And just like every other industry, and just like for the last 100 years, entrepreneurs have reinvented industries, it's happening right now in healthcare, and in the pharma space, it's no different. I think ultimately what you have are entrepreneurs, which by the way oftentimes are clinicians and people from the industry and doctors who see and have seen the broken system, the broken way it works, and are experiencing outside of healthcare the benefits of technology, the benefits of the internet, the benefits of mobile phones, and the benefits of the new technologies. And so the opportunity here is to take advantage of all of those new technologies, take advantage of the entrepreneurial thinking, and instead of fighting the reimagination of the industry, join it. And what we have found is that there's 2 types of organizations: those with the stagnation mindset, which think they're just going to wait and see, or it's not really going to happen yet, and then the transformation mindset, where they understand they don't know it all and they don't have a complex about it being invented there. And so when you have an organization that has the transformation mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset, anything can happen. And what we ultimately need is the industry to get on board, companies to get on board from the CEO down, and start to work with external innovation partners and entrepreneurs to help figure out how this might impact the industry. And over the next 10, 15, 20 years, I think we're going to see the entire industry reimagine. We figure we're about 5 years into a 25-year transformation of this industry.